Okay, this is just a really quick little beginner video, and I'm stressing beginner because I'm just going to show you a quick and easy way to create a little pencil drawing of a anime type face, not a realistic face, and then give that face some color with colored pencil. You'll notice when you open a box of colored pencils, I don't care what the set is, whether it's Prismacolor or some other set, there isn't really a color named Fleshtone in there. So you have to figure out how to get that tone with a mixture of colors from your pencil set. And I'm going to try to show you a reasonable way to start that process. Again, beginner way to start that process, and that's what we're going to do. So first thing we have to do is draw a face. We're going to just finish up with a little swab. And again, like a cotton swab from my other video. So we have our face. Now what we want to do is give her some color, and the best way to do that is to use some pencils that are going to help us come up with the right tone. The base tone for flesh, in most cases, and it doesn't matter what the ethnicity is of the person because this is just the base tone, sort of like foundation in makeup. We're going to put goldenrod. And I don't know if you could see that color, goldenrod there. It's sort of a browny yellow. It's not yellow, but it has an undertone of yellow or ochre. You're going to go over the face with a real light touch and just put that every place where she has flesh, where there isn't an eyeball and there isn't hair. And do it light, like I say, because we really don't want a lot of yellow. Some flesh tones have more yellow in it than others, but you can work that out layering. So we go this way very lightly over the entire face area. And these are Prismacolor water aquarelle pencils, so we can create the mixture of the actual pencil into flesh tone with water over top, or we can do it with a white pencil, which works like a neutral blender. Now I'm going to lift this up toward the camera so you can see how light that application is. It's very light, but once you start mixing the colors, that's going to come through. So the next color that we're going to use is going to be a sort of a terracotta or an orangey tone. This is Derwent terracotta, and you can see that's their tone for terracotta. And then this is Prismacolor terracotta, and you can see their tone for terracotta is quite a bit darker. So depending on who makes the terracotta and the texture of the lead, you're going to put this on with a different pressure point. So I'm going to do one half with one color and one half with the other so you can see. This is the Derwent, and it looks really light, but it goes on pretty easily, so that means super light touch on that. We'll stop at the middle. And this is giving that sort of brownish but rosy undertone to the flesh color. And I'm going to lift this up so you can see what the difference is, where that is. So you can see there's a little bit more of a brown tone on this side, and there's none on this side. Now we're going to put the Prismacolor over here. And again, light touch. This has a lot more of a red tone to it. Which might be more important to the flesh tone character of whoever it is you're trying to draw. And in this case, we're making this person up, so it doesn't matter, we're deciding. But now you can see when we pull it up close that both sides have that terracotta color in them. Now the next tone that we're going to use is a little bit of pink. We're going to put a light pink, and this one is particularly called blush pink. It's very light. We're going to put that up in the cheek area, just under the eye, but not further over than the middle of the pupil. And then it can go up all the way to the temple on that side. Middle of the pupil, up to the temple, and then kind of under the lips a little bit. And the last thing we're going to do is put a little bit of white over top of the whole texture. And this would be just your standard white. So with this you can press harder, and actually you're going to want to, because it's going to blend all those brush strokes together, including the shadows we put on with the graphite, and it's going to make all those tones sort of merge. And you're seeing, in a moment, I'm going to put this up closer so you can see it better. You'll see exactly where the white went and how those tones are blending. So let me bring that up. Now, here is where they were blended with the white, and here is where they weren't. You see individual brush strokes. Here you start to see the brush strokes blending away. And that's what you would do if you're going to do the whole face flesh tone with the pencil and no water if it's not an aquarelle. So let's just quickly finish that, because even if we're going to add water and it will change the character, you want the white in there. Now, if you find that your white is not blending away enough yellow, you can always go back in with more of a brown tone over that. And for that, I have the Derwit, and you'll see this is a watercolor, says watercolor right on it, because all the ones I'm using are. This is called Bronze, and it's more of a browny color, and it's going to give you that sort of an underlying tan to the flesh tone. But you don't have to use this bronze. You could use a brown Derwit, and I'm going to put it where I would have more of a shadow on the face, which is the cheek area, and over the eye, and up into that nose, inner nose place, you know, where you have a shadow always. So we're going to go up to here to the eye, back over the cheek, and down underneath the chin, but on the outside. I'm not really going in the middle, and then on the neck. Then one more time we're going to go back over it with our white to blend it in. Now she has a bit of a flesh tone. Okay, so even without me lifting it up, you can see that we have a really reasonable and believable flesh tone just as it is. We don't need to do a lot to it, but I'm going to bring it up closer so you can see how the brush or the pencil strokes are pretty much blended into each other. You don't see a yellow stroke, a pink stroke, a terracotta stroke, or a bronze stroke. You see shadowing and you see flesh tone. Now, you can then do a similar thing and give her some color in the eyes and make those a little bit more believable too in the iris area. This is called Cool Gray, and I'm going to use that on the bottom part of the eye. And it looks like the color of the iris, but it isn't. And then we're going to go back and we're going to get a blue, and this one is actually called True Blue, and you can see that blue color. And we're going to start with where we put the gray, and then we're going to go up the side, and I'm going to leave a little of the white area on the outside because we're going to blend this as well, and that will then blend out, and you'll have not solid colored blue eyes which look like a cartoon but look more like a real iris. So go back over that with the white. And then the last thing we're going to do with the eye itself is we're going to go back over that black or the graphite iris with a little bit of black, but not cover it. See, you can see how you have a lighter area here and a darker where I put the gray. So it goes from light to dark, dark to light, and it looks more like a natural iris. Okay, so now we're going to go back over it a little bit with some black in the iris and around the edge of the pupil. So the pupil up here, we're going to put some black in. We don't want to take away that lighter part at the bottom. We just want to have a darker area at the top. Same over here. And then we're going to, with a little bit more pressure, create an outline on the pupil, and then on the outside of the iris itself. And then we're going to put, well, let me show you that close up. On the iris, we didn't put anything here. This is still graphite. This is black color pencil up here and around the outside iris. Now we're going to emphasize the upper lid at its ending point next to the eye, both sides, and same thing on the bottom. You can choose to give her an actual tear duct or leave her like so. I'm going to put a little hint of a tear duct in there, and then I'm going to emphasize the upper lid, but I'm not going to really color that down because we're going to put some eyelashes in there later, and you can see how her eyes look much more real. Now what we want to do is go back in, use the white, and blend down a little of that upper lid to the lower lid. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and put some rosy color on her lips. And this is actually called carmine red. It doesn't look very red here, but that's because it's got a little waxy buildup on the surface. It is red. But we're not going to color the whole lip red. We're just going to color one side of it red, and then we're going to blend that with the blush pink that we used earlier. Because once again, there's light on her lips. They're not solid red, not even when you put the best red lipstick on. So there's our girl's face. We would want to color in her hair. You'd have to choose what color you'd want her hair to be. I'd like her hair to be a dark brown to a red color, so I'm going to go ahead and use the terracotta, and I'm going to mix it with the bronze from the Derwent. So let me find my bronze here. Here we go. Terracotta and bronze. And I'm going to put the bronze in near her forehead just as a highlight kind of thing. And if you wanted to, you could come in and just give her some definition in the strands of hair. And there we go. There's our girl.